Hi everybody, it's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video, and today we're talking Season 3 and beyond of the Wheel of Time. We're going to talk just a bit about a couple of different things. We'll talk about the fandom in general, and what I think is going to happen for Season 3, and what I would like to see happening in the fandom coming up to Season 3. We're going to talk just a bit about what we as a fandom can do to ensure Season 4 and beyond of the show. And one of the things that I've been told is not exactly something that I thought was very intuitive, so I kind of want to share it with you folks. The rest of them we've probably talked about here on the channel before, but one of them is brand new, and it's kind of a weird thing, but we'll talk about it. And then I want to get into a spoiler section of the video afterwards. So the first half of the video will be completely spoiler-free. Second half, I want to talk about what I expect to see for Season 3 and why I think, and why I said that I think Season 3 is going to bring back some of the fence sitters and people who didn't really enjoy Seasons 1 and 2 back into the fold, and they probably will like Season 3. We'll talk a bit about that in the last half of the video, and things that I expect or would hope to see going forward in the show. Now, if you're new to the channel, you don't know what we do here, well, it's probably pretty obvious. We talk Wheel of Time. We do talk Wheel of Time almost all the time. I also do book reviews and some other nerdy things here and there. So if you like that sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tell a few of your friends, because we're running a contest right now, and it's only for subscribers. When we hit 25,000 subscribers, I do have a fourth wall creator page. It's down below in the description box if you folks want to check out the merch. There's not a ton there, but there's a few things if you like What Up shirts or toques and things like that, or hoodies. I will use that page to make some professional type special things when we hit 25,000 subscribers, and I'll send them out to not just one, but maybe a few different people. Yeah, so the only way you can be entered in that contest is if you actually are a subscriber. So if you do enjoy my content, you've been watching me for a while, and or occasionally, and you like what you see here, and you're not already subbed, please consider subbing. Once we hit 25,000, you'll be entered automatically in a contest to win something. So there's that. All right, so like I said earlier, first half of this video is going to be completely spoiler-free. It's going to be some meta stuff, and then second half will be more specific and we'll ruin some plot lines and character points. But someone on my last video left a comment, and they had a very, very good idea. And I don't know who that person was, and I do apologize for that. It's not my idea, it was someone else's. I saw it, I said, that's great, and I meant to screenshot it, and I didn't, and it kind of got buried. So if you were the person that came up with this idea, let me know down here in the comments of this video, and then I'll pin it. But what I'm going to do from now on in all of my videos is, as we come up into the spoiler sections, we have the normal spoiler splash screen. That's hard to say. Splash screen. And then we'll talk about what the spoilers are going to be, but then we're going to have something like this. So that's like the little band of the red hand symbol, and then we'll put a number for the book that we're spoiling. So in this case, in today's video, we're going right up to book 14 for the last half of the video, so the full series of the Wheel of Time. And that'll be up the whole time while we're talking about spoilers. And if there's no spoilers, it's not there. Pretty easy. It's just a simple click of a mouse for me, and it does alleviate some of the pressure for people trying to skip through my videos and finding out when the spoilers are and when they're not, especially considering I'm trying to do multiple types of spoilers or no spoilers in some of my videos now for some people. So anyway, great idea, fantastic idea. We're going to be implementing it here on the channel starting today. So we'll do the spoiler thing about halfway through, and then that'll pop up on the screen. So if you happen to skip ahead and you see that, that's what it means. It's spoilers. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about here before we dive into everything else is the fandom itself. Now, the fandom itself is, in my opinion, one of the best fandoms in the world when it comes to geeky, nerdy type things. Like, we're way better than the Star Wars fandom, way better than Lord of the Rings fandom. We're way more inclusive and thoughtful and different things, and not quite as toxic. We do have our toxic elements, though. It 100% happens on both sides of the spectrum. And I say that because we have people that are incredibly toxic, that are racist or bigoted or misogynistic, or they're just not great people. And then we also have people that are kind of toxic, that assume everyone should love everything there is to love about the books and the show, or specifically the show, and that no one can have a different opinion. So that's what I want to talk about today. So kind of goes part and parcel with what we're going to talk about at the end of the video. I want to talk about some of the things that are going to bring people back, I think, to the show for Season 3. So like I said, for the most part, the fandom is great. If you interact with the fandom on BLUESKY, which was where I'm at right now, it's fantastic. I don't have enough great things to say about the fandom there. It's inclusive, it's fun, it's great, everyone's having a good time. It's awesome. X, it is what it is. X is X right now, like what Twitter used to be. It's been kind of infiltrated with a ton of ads, it's not a great platform anymore, folks. It's your content gets buried and lost, and it's hard to keep a group of people together there. The official Wheel of Time accounts are still on X, so that's why I'm still there. And the Threads is Threads. It's not great. I don't like it too much, but I'm on there. I'm on Instagram, on Reddit as well. But one thing that all of the fandoms seem to have in common is that they like to fight. And they do. Like every fandom in the world fights about different things, and most of the time it's good natured. However, I find that in our fandom, the Wheel of Time, one of the things that people really like to take up arms against is when someone doesn't like an aspect of the show. Some people get very upset about that. And what I want to try to impress upon you folks is when season 3 drops, there will be people coming back to the fandom that did not enjoy season 1. They did not enjoy season 2 for whatever the reasons are. And as long as the reasons aren't hateful in any way, shape, or form, like they just didn't enjoy it for whatever reason, then that's totally fine. Like being hateful is different. To me, that's just a block. Like I don't consider them even part of the fandom when you're being hateful and terrible. But when these people come back, they're going to want to talk about the show. They're going to be on social media. They're going to be joining social media. They'll be talking about certain things. And they may not like every element of the show. And this is something that I feel very personally about because it's happened to me. So, for example, most of you, my viewers out there, understand that I love the Wheel of Time show. It's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite shows. I've rewatched it a bunch of times. I've lived, breathed, and everywhere my hands at. Ate the Wheel of Time for years, since 1990 when Die of the World first came out. I love the books. Also love the show. I consider it like just almost like a different turn of the wheel, a fresh way to tell a story where I'm still surprised and happy. It's like getting a new Wheel of Time book every couple of years, and I'm happy with that. That isn't to say there aren't certain elements of the show that I dislike. It's happened before. Season 1, episode 8. Terrible. I don't want to tell you, it was really bad. Like, I know there were challenges, and I make allowances for things, but I didn't enjoy that at all. When I did my reviews, I got a really, really poor review. Season 2, episode 8. Again, the finale of season 2. Did not enjoy it. Not even a little bit. I had so many terrible things to say about it. And when I did my review, I did my best to be positive like I normally am, but I gave it a low rating as well. And in those 2 instances, I was absolutely eviscerated online by the fandom that I love because I didn't enjoy an aspect of the show. And that's okay. I got thick skin. I'm a big boy. I can handle that. It's totally fine. But what I want to impress upon you folks out there now is just remember that. Remember that when season 3 drops, there are going to be aspects of season 3 that are going to bring people back to the fold that maybe didn't like the show. And they maybe will talk about certain aspects of the show they didn't like. They didn't like certain changes. They didn't like certain the way certain things are portrayed. They didn't like I don't know, maybe the One Power, the way the One Power is in the show, or they didn't like storyline being changed. Whatever, as long as it's not hateful, then they're allowed to have those feelings. They're allowed not to like certain aspects of the show. And if we as a fandom just say, no, you have to love everything, we may chase away potential viewers. So what I'm saying is be open-minded. And I love people who have different opinions about the show. If somebody absolutely loathes the show, but they loathe it because for valid reasons, I totally will have a conversation with that person and find out why. And they don't have to agree with me or my opinion, and I don't have to agree with them and their opinion. It's just one of those things where it's good to have that open discourse, and it leaves room for growth on both sides. So it's just one of those things where it doesn't have to be you dislike something so you hate the whole thing. It doesn't have to be you have to love everything. You can like certain aspects of the show, and you can also dislike certain aspects of the show. You can like some of the cast members in the show and like their acting. You can dislike the acting of other cast members. You can like some aspects of the storyline and dislike other aspects of the storyline. You can like some of the VFX and you can dislike some of the VFX. That's totally fine. It's totally okay not to like certain things. So I'm saying this, like, so when season 3 drops, I'll be doing my reviews. You folks know my reviews are 100% honest. And generally, if I'm saying I like something, I'm an Amazon show, according to one side. And if I say I don't like something, then I am not faithful to the Wheel of Time and its fandom. And the other side doesn't like me. So what I'm saying is it's okay to like and dislike certain parts of the show. And when people come back and they're trying season 3, especially if they come back and they're like, wow, season 3 is really like knocking it out of the park. I really enjoy this. It's really good. But yeah, season 2 didn't do it for me. I didn't like the Kyrian stuff. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. That's fine. They can dislike certain things, but there's still going to be a viewer and a fan of the show, even if they don't like every bit of it. So that's kind of my little rant, I guess, is the best way to put it. Anyway, just food for thought. That's how I want to start the video, because it's going to tie into the end of the video when I think a bunch of people are going to come back that really didn't like the show the first 2 seasons. I think they're going to enjoy season 3. So there's that. So next thing I want to talk about is what we can do as a fan of those of us who absolutely love the show and want 32 seasons of it, which we'll never get, but what we can do to help. Well, we've covered a bunch of things. Rewatches are good. Amazon loves completion rates. Make sure when you do a rewatch, you do a full completion of the season within a there's no time frame, I guess. Just make sure you complete it. Don't leave it hanging at episode 2 or whatever. They know when people shut things off. They know when people pause things. They know when people go away. So fast forwarding through something or skipping through something doesn't do it. It has to be a full watch. So if you really enjoy the show, watch the show is what I'm saying. Something else I was kind of read in on the other day, and this kind of blew my mind a little bit, and this comes from someone in the know, that says that Amazon, yes, they love completion rates, they like viewership numbers, they like all of these things, but one of the metrics that they look at is new subscribers gained based on a certain show. And I was like, well, how do they do that? Like, how is that possible? Well, this person told me that when someone subscribes to Amazon Prime, when they subscribe to Prime Video and they pay the money for it, the very first show they watch and that they complete goes towards another metric that Amazon really likes measuring, showing new subscribers are joining for this show. And I was like, well, so what? We get everybody cancel their Prime memberships 2 months before season 1, and then, or season 3 comes out, and then everybody rejoin the day before, and then make sure you watch it first. And they were like, yeah. I'm not saying to do that, but I am saying right now, if you don't have a Prime membership and you're planning on resubbing for the Wheel of Time, then it's probably a good idea to resub just before season 3 drops, and the first thing you watch is season 3. The first, well, we don't know how many episodes are dropping at once, but historically it's been 3. So if you watch the first 3 episodes, as soon as you resub, that's a good indication to Amazon that it's a check in the box for one of their metrics. I personally probably won't be dropping my Prime account because we only use streaming services in the household to watch TV, and there's some other shows on Prime that I watch, a lot of movies I watch on Prime. So I probably won't drop it myself. But I know a lot of people out there drop it in between seasons of shows and pick it back up for certain shows because they only like certain aspects of different streaming services. So if you're one of those people, don't pick it up a week before and then watch Tulsa King or The Boys or Gen V or any of those other shows, Reacher. Pick it up the day before Wheel of Time. Resubscribe. First thing you watch should be the Wheel of Time. First season, second season, third season, doesn't really matter. Watch the Wheel of Time. It shows as a metric to Amazon that people are resubbing for a certain show. Kind of a neat thing, and something I never really thought of. And I think, I'm almost sure I've read it mentioned somewhere, maybe even by some people who work in the show that maybe have posted on X. I can't tell you where I heard it from before, but this person that I was talking to is close to the production, and they would know. And they're like, yeah, it's a thing. Like, they're not saying everybody should cancel and then resub. That's not what they're saying. But what they are saying is if you're not subbed right now and you happen to resub for the Wheel of Time, make sure you're resubbing for the Wheel of Time and you watch that. Yeah, I guess that's where that goes. All right, now we're gonna jump into the spoiler section of the video. We got through the heavy stuff with the fandom. We got through the what we can do as a fan to ensure season 4 and beyond. Yeah, metrics are good for Prime. They like knowing that there's value for money for their shows. I guess the best way to put it. So we got to do what we can. But now we're going to talk just a bit about season 3 and what I expect to bring some people back, and the future of what I hope to see in the rest of the series. So, spoiler warning: if you have not read the entire Wheel of Time series, yes, we're talking books 1 through 14 by Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. If you have not seen the first 2 seasons of the show, and if you're not kind of totally caught up on most of the news for season 3, be forewarned, I'm going to ruin plot points, character arcs, and other major things from the series. And the reason I'm giving an all-encompassing up to the end of book 14 is because I'm going to talk about some stuff that I totally want to see in the show, and I can't wait. And I really hope they're going to do it, and it comes from much later books, including Memory of Light. So you've been warned. That little hand is going up on the screen now, and yeah, now we're going to talk spoiler stuff, folks. All right, spoiler stuff. So I made a comment in my video on Tuesday. When did I drop the video? It doesn't matter. A couple of days ago, anyway. I made a comment where I said that I think that season 3 is going to bring back a lot of people sitting on the fence, and I stand by that comment for a bunch of different reasons. There are a lot of people who didn't enjoy the show for seasons 1 and season 2 because of the changes. And there were people that enjoyed the show, but when the changes became too much, it was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back, and they just threw their hands up in the air. And they're like, enough is enough. I'm done. I don't recognize this as the Wheel of Time anymore. And that's, like I said, totally fair. People are allowed to have their opinion. Now, for season 3, are the changes still happening? Of course, 100%. They're at a point in the storyline where things have changed enough that they have to continue on with some of those changes, but they are bringing some of the things back in line with where the books are, and they're going back to amalgamating some storylines that make sense. They're getting some things out in the open that I think people are really going to want to see, and they're really... I mean, in my opinion, it's always been about the spirit of the books, and the storyline, even if changed in specifics, the general journey has always been the same. They're going to get back to some of those specifics for season 3. And I think that's really going to bring a lot of people back into the fold that were either fence sitters or kind of like on the fence, but I didn't really enjoy the changes too much. And you're going to see some things that you recognize, and you're going to see some things that I think are going to make you very, very happy. What things that I know of that we're going to see? Well, there's a few things. Well, we are going to see... for sure, a fight between Matt and the Dragons. That's happening. So that is common knowledge. Rafe Judkins had said that at some point during press for season 2. It asked Matt directly a question on X, and he answered it. He said they're going to do it in a way that makes sense for the show, and they're going to definitely include that, and it's going to happen. Which, it's one of those scenes. So there are scenes in the book series where you see them and you're like, you read them rather, and you're like, I need to see this. It's got to happen. And one of those scenes is when Matt wakes up sick from being healed from being actually removed from the dagger. He makes his way down to the warder training grounds, picks up a quarterstaff and is kind of leaning on it for support. And he's watching the too pretty Galad and the kind of arrogant Gowan just thump people around the warder training yard, and talks to him a bit. And he's like, yeah, I could take you. And then they make a bet for some silver, and he takes them both on with a quarterstaff, and he thumps the crap out of them. Now, Gowan's my favorite character. I do have the Gowan tattoo there. I love him to death. He's my boy. I loved reading him just getting thumped by Matt. It was great. It was super awesome. We're going to see that in season 3. It's happening. Rafe Judkins has mentioned it publicly. That it's not a secret. We are going to see that in season 3. That alone, I think, would be enough to bring some people back. Two Rivers. So the whole Two Rivers plotline, where Perrin goes home to the Two Rivers, and he brings Loyal and Bane and Chiad with him, and Fail, and they formulate the defense of the Two Rivers. He's going there basically to give himself up because the White Cloaks are after him, and he doesn't want them harassing his friends and family. This happens in The Shadow Rising. It's a very, very big part of the plot of that book. That whole plotline with Perrin, there are some little changes here and there, but I've seen and heard some things that are identical to book dialogue, that are identical to what's going on in the Two Rivers plotline, and I am personally incredibly excited about it. I don't want to say there's no changes, because there is. It's an adaptation, things change, but it's close enough that I think that people are going to be absolutely overjoyed for a number of different reasons just watching that plot line. And I think it's going to play out in such a way that I don't think that the changes are going to make much of a big deal to people who are very excited about this. So if you're a book reader, you didn't really enjoy the first couple of seasons of the show, but Perrin's one of your favorite characters, and you really enjoy the Two Rivers plot line, you're going to want to watch season 3 just for that. Like, it's going to be... I don't know how to say it's going to be absolutely amazing any other way than saying that, but I think people are going to be very happy with that. So there's that. Next, what else are we going to see next season that I think is going to make some people very happy? Well, we're going to see Rhuidean. Rhuidean is a huge deal in the books. It's a very, very important place. There's a lot going on there. Are there changes? Yes. I'm getting that out in the open right now. There are going to be some changes to the general storyline when it comes to Roydian, but you are going to get to see the flashbacks through the Crystal Columns. So you're going to get to see through Rand's past lives. You get to see the Age of Legends. You're going to get to see when the Aiel became a thing. You're going to get to see all that. And it's one of those things that people have been saying for quite some time, that when they read those chapters and they got to see through Rand's ancestors' eyes, that's something they want to see adapted. You're seeing that next season. It's happening for sure, 100%. And it is the adaptation part of it, like the going back through the ancestors' eyes, is so close to what's on the page that it's just a joy to see. So I am very excited. I haven't seen it yet myself personally, but I know about it obviously, and we've talked about it here on the channel. I've done some videos and leaks and things about it. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. The Aiel, the Golden Bowl. You're going to see that next season, and it's going to be pretty close and pretty cool. You're going to get to see Colrock's Hold. You are going to get to see the Waste itself. All of them much closer to the books than not. A lot of the storyline in the Waste is, some of it has changed. Don't get me wrong, there are changes to that storyline, but the general flow of the storyline is far closer to the books than say season 2 was. So just the entire season, right from the inception of Elida to the happenings in the tower, to the Two Rivers, to Tenchiko. We haven't talked about Tenchiko yet. Tenchiko is very different from the books for a bunch of different reasons, but they kind of amalgamated the Ebodar storyline into it for the show. But you get to see Matt. And Matt, they do far more justice to Matt in season 3 than they've done in season 1 and season 2. If you're a Matt fan, season 3 is your season. He's more of a Matt character than he has been so far. And you get his quips, you get his one-liners, you get his, you get little bits here and there, you get his overprotectiveness of the girls, you get all of that in season 3. Yes, the storyline's a bit different in the Tenchiko when he's there with the girls, but it's kind of merged the Ebodar storyline, and you do get to see him on screen again. In addition to that, Tom's coming back. Tom, even with the changes, Tom was so popular in season 1 for the 15 minutes he had on screen, and then he didn't come back for season 2. People were very upset about that. He is back for season 3. He has a much bigger role. He is in the Tenchiko storyline with Matt, and there's a lot going on there. None of this is new information, by the way, folks. I've covered all of this in previous videos and leaks and stuff. I'm just kind of amalgamating a few things and putting it all together here. So if some of this is new to you, I've already done videos on it. You can find them here on the channel under the leaks and exclusives. But yeah, all in all, the entire 3rd season is so much closer to the books than, say, season 2 was, that I think a lot of people that watched it and were like, it's a decent show, but it's not the books, I don't want to watch it anymore, this will bring them back. Even the people who really disliked the show for some of the major changes, if they're big fans of Matt or Perrin, this is going to bring them back. It's the hype is real, folks. I'm very excited for it. I can't wait till it comes out. From what I've seen, the writing is, again, above and beyond what it's been. The acting, again, is above and beyond what it's been. So for those of you who watched the first 2 seasons, or for those of you who watched some of season 1 and some of season 2, I think everyone, whether they liked the show or not, agreed on one thing, and that was season 2 was leaps and bounds ahead of season 1 in both quality, storytelling, plot devices, everything. It was just way better. I'm telling you that season 3 is that same leap over season 2. It's going to be phenomenal. I, for one, am very excited for it, and I can't wait to see it. And I do think it'll bring a lot of people back into the fold. So like I said at the beginning of the video, folks, just remember, when these people come back, they may not have liked the first 2 seasons, and they may comment on that. As long as it's not hateful, they can have their opinion. And they may be viewers for season 3, and that may hook them. That may be it. This might be Riker's beard for them. Just so you folks know, like, it just might be a thing. All right. That being said, now we have the spoiler for book 14, and I haven't gone beyond book 5 right now. What do I hope and expect to see? Well, for season 3, I do really hope to see Maureen's death. I do. Happens in the Fires of Heaven. I know it's a bit further afield than we think we're going. I think it's very likely that it's probably going to happen. It's set up that way. It's the whole season is going to be set up to get to that point, and I hope we do see it, and I hope they follow through on it, and I kind of hope that it sticks for at least a few seasons, because it was a shock in the books when I read it, and for new viewers who maybe don't know too much about the books, it's going to be a shock to them. And coming back later on also is going to be a big shock to people who haven't read the books. So I hope they do that as well. I hope we get to see Drahekar. I hope we get to see Golem. I hope we get to see the worms. I hope we get to see all sorts of different Shadow Spawn. I really, really do. I'm hoping for that. I know at some point, as long as we get to season 4 and up, we're going to get Domai's Wells. That's going to happen. I'm excited to see that. That is going to be difficult. I'm hoping they do that battle a bit more justice than they did the battle at the end of season 2. Felt very fragmented and not very big. I want this to be a big, big battle. And I'm kind of hoping that they do one of two things with the Pattern Thane in the show. Because he's sort of been an aside so far in the show, but he was in the books too. Like, he wasn't really utilized to his full potential, I don't think, in the books. I hope they either double down and they just lean into him being the shunned version of a dark friend in the show, and then he goes his own path, or they kind of stop. One or the other. Either once the dagger's gone, he's gone, or they really lean into it. I think those are two things that I really want. Now we're going to go pretty far afield. I think they're going to cut out most of the Succession, and I'll be happy with that, because it's, well, interesting, kind of a dry read, and not something that a ton of the fandom thoroughly enjoyed. Don't get me wrong, there are people that really enjoyed the Succession plot lines. I hope they kind of abbreviate the Fail kidnapping. I hope that just gets truncated to maybe half an episode of a thing, because again, really great for a lot of people, but those two combined were what a lot of the fandom refers to as a slog. I enjoyed reading it, but again, not everyone does. And then I hope they kind of sift through and cut through like the Darth Rand stuff. Like, when he was at his lowest, it was a thing, but it was not enjoyable reading. I like when he was redeemed by his father, and I want to see that scene with Tam. I hope they show it. I hope they see him on Dragon Mount. I hope they see the realization, and then I hope they kind of lead that into, like, even in the final season, like I want a whole season of Rand being perfect, if that makes any sense at all, rather than unsure or angry Rand. I would like a perfect Zen Rand for a full season near the end. So if we get 8 seasons, I want season 8 to be all Zen Rand. I want season 7 to end with him realizing and having a chat with his dad, realizing that, man, I'm not great, and then moving on. That's what I'm hoping. The last battle. I want Hindersnap. They got to keep Hindersnap. I want to see Hindersnap. I want to spend a full episode in Hindersnap. Even if they do like sort of a horror offshoot themed one shot, I don't care. I want the Hindersnap. I want them to be involved in the last battle. I want all of that. Can they do all of the stuff? No. 100% not. There's not enough time. Not enough time to do all that and build the Black Tower and build Logain and build Master Taim and build. They can't. There's just not much time. But I want it all. So that's what I'm saying to you folks. There are so many great things to come that even if they only adapt a handful of them, and we get to see them on the screen, I consider that a win personally, because these are things I super want to see. I don't think everyone in the fandom feels exactly the same way, but I do for one. And then the last battle, I want the last battle to be at least 4 episodes long, half a season, because the last battle chapter realistically is bigger than most fantasy books. If you don't know how big it is, take a look. I'd have to look it up myself. I don't remember, but I know that it is much bigger than most fantasy books. So that last battle has to be at least 4 episodes long. I'm super hoping for that. So that leads me into asking you folks, what are some things that you need to see adapted in the next 3 to 5 seasons, depending on if we get them or not? I gave you my wish list. These are things I really want to see. I left out a lot, though, like Cleansing of the Source, the Windfinders. Like there's a lot of things that I left out on purpose, but you folks probably have your own lists. Let me know in the comments down below what you folks want to see or need to see in the show in the coming seasons. All right. Thank you very much for sticking with us here to the very end. Here's to many more.